Things out at this point. However, we do still have that extreme cold warning that starts at 6 p.m. for wind chills near 10 degrees for tonight. And notice the winter storm warnings still continuing at this hour over towards Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Gulfport, Mobile. These are areas that very rarely see winter storm warnings. And believe it or not, earlier today we had blizzard warnings for the first time ever for parts of southeast Texas and over into southwestern Louisiana. That included Beaumont and Lafayette. So it has been a crazy last 24 hours with all of the snow, the southern winter storm impacting us big time. How much snow did we get overall for southeast Texas? Well, our FoxRad radar estimating the majority of the area picked up anywhere from a trace to about 4 inches of snow, but the bullseye so far, at least with our snow totals that we've seen, Baytown picking up around 5.5 inches of snowfall. So they've been the big winner so far. There you see it, almost a half of a foot of snow. So certainly some really impressive totals for being this far south. We are talking about the Gulf Coast. Even in southeast Houston, right around 4 inches of snowfall reported from this winter storm. Richmond, 4 inches there as well. Liberty around 3 inches, and the Woodlands around 2.3 inches, so almost 2.5 inches for you. More snow totals for you. West University Place, a little over 3 inches. Kemah, right around 2.5 inches. Bunker Hill Village, right at 2 inches. And for you in Galveston and College Station, right around 1 inch. So at this point, we've got the clouds that were really thick earlier today breaking up. So hey, a little sunshine goes a long way. That's helping to melt some of that snow and ice. That's kind of why you see some of the snow kind of fading away, and some of the roads that were snow covered and icy kind of starting to turn wet and slushy. So things are improving, but it is only temporary. The sunshine helping to warm those temperatures up. In fact, look at this. We've now jumped up another 3 degrees with our temps. A few hours ago, we were right around 33. Last hour, we were right around 36. Now we're up to 39, so almost 40 degrees. So that's why we're starting to see more melting. So if you have to get out, definitely now would be the time, but I wouldn't encourage you to get out at all if you don't have to. But if it's an emergency, at least we're closer to 40, and we are seeing some melting, but it's still going to be very dangerous travel out there. So my advice, just stay at home and enjoy the time off. Enjoy the snow day if you can, because it is still going to be pretty icy out there. Wind starting to calm down a bit, but it is still going to be breezy in spots. And right now, those temperatures are still very close to freezing for some areas, including Galveston, just 1 degree above freezing, 31 in Texas City, 33 in League City, and up to 35 in Missouri City, upper 30s for you in Katy and Cypress. Now, earlier today we had wind gusts, believe it or not, over 50 miles per hour, 55 mile per hour wind gusts reported in Galveston. So along with that wintry mix, we're talking about wind gusts over 50 miles per hour. So at least the wind's starting to settle down a bit, but it is still breezy. So don't let this graphic fool you. It may not be 50, 55 mile per hour winds, but it's still going to be breezy, and that's making temperatures feel like it's in the 20s for much of the area. So, like I said, the good news is that we've gotten rid of the winter storm that brought all of the snow. However, we have not gotten rid of the Arctic air, these super chilly temperatures. In fact, I think the temperatures tonight will likely be the coldest of this cold snap. So for that reason, the National Weather Service has issued and put us under an extreme cold warning. It was a watch, which means that conditions were favorable for a very dangerous hard freeze tonight. Now it's a warning. That means it is likely, and you need to take steps to prepare. We're talking about actual temperatures likely in the teens, and when you factor in whatever wind is left, it's going to feel like it's around 10 degrees for many of you, maybe even into the single digits. So we're getting into dangerous cold territory, and you don't want to be out there having to endure any of that if you don't have to. You don't want any of your skin exposed to that. So that's why it's always a good idea to cover up as much as possible, put on extra layers, have as much of your face covered as possible. You don't want to be out without gloves, boots, scarf, hat, a thick coat, layers underneath the coat. Try to keep yourselves safe until we can dig ourselves out of this Arctic blast. Here are some of the temps I expect for tonight. Likely upper teens for Houston, middle teens for Cypress, 19 in Channelview, 20 in Clear Lake, 19 degrees for you in Bel Air, so that's going to be a hard freeze. And guess what? Any of those slushy roads will quickly become icy. I think after 6 o'clock, that's when things will kind of start to go downhill on us. So I think between 6 p.m. tonight and 10 a.m. tomorrow, we are going to have likely temperatures right at or below freezing. So that's when the roads will start to turn icy once again. So what can you do if you have to get out on the road? I know some of you have jobs where, hey, you say you can't stay at home. You've got to get there. Maybe you have an emergency. If you have to hop out there on the roads, then here's some things you can do to try to stay safe. Of course, if you don't have to, stay home. If you don't absolutely have to travel, of course, less cars equals usually fewer accidents. But if you do have to get out there on those snow-covered and still somewhat icy roads across H-Town, stay away from other vehicles. Try not to drive right next to someone, because if they lose control, they may slide into you or you may slide into them. So try to increase that distance between your vehicle and the next vehicle. What else can you do? Well, here is a common sense thing. We all like to get to where we want to go quickly, but of course, when you're talking about winter weather, snow, sleet, freezing rain, drive below 30 miles per hour if you can for snow and below 15 miles per hour for ice. And of course, another important thing that you never want to do when you're driving on snow and ice, you don't want to slam on the brakes, because that's likely going to send you spinning and you're going to be out of control. So don't slam on the brakes and try to steer into the direction of the skid if you do start skidding. So hopefully you don't have to be out there on the roads, but we're going to have that chance for ice, like I said, between 6 p.m. tonight, 10 a.m. tomorrow, before we see more significant melting tomorrow afternoon. Guess what? We've got temperatures in the 70s in the extended forecast. I'll let you know when a huge warm up is coming